Hi, and welcome to the Itsy Garden tutorial on making hand pies. For the full recipe, please visit our website at www.itsygarden.com. Once you've made your dough and given it time to chill in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes or overnight, prepare to roll it out on a well-floured work surface. If it is too hard to work, just give it some time at room temperature until you're able to make indents with your fingers. Once your dough is ready to be worked, you're going to want to make a rough rectangle shape since your toaster pastries will be smaller rectangles. Working from the inside out, you're going to want to achieve an even thickness. Ideally, your toaster pastries will be as thin as possible because that will allow for maximum flakiness, but you have to be able to remove it from your board. So striking the balance between a thin flaky pastry and a too thick pastry that's going to be slightly gummy inside is essential. The dough is very forgiving here, so if you're having a difficult time making your rectangle, feel free to fold over large edges, cut off sections, and put them where they're needed. It'll take you about 4 to 5 minutes to achieve a good rectangle shape. During this demonstration, I floured my dough about 3 times. The butter in the dough accepts the flour very well, so don't be afraid to use flour when necessary to avoid sticking. Here I'm just demonstrating how you could take a thick edge from one end and apply it to a thinner area that needs a little extra dough. Again, anytime you work with your hands on an area of your dough, put a little bit of flour down to avoid sticking. And if at any point you feel that the butter in your dough has started to melt, just take a few moments, put it in the refrigerator, and your job will be a lot easier. Here I'm just shoring up the dough before I make my final cut to make a nice smooth edge for my toaster pastries. The edges that I am cutting off make a wonderful snack for the chef, so just ball them up and then break them into pieces and put them on your baking sheet when you're ready to cook your toaster pastries. They're wonderful dipped in whatever filling you have left over from your toaster pastries. Ideally, you're going to cut your dough in half horizontally and vertically, counter to what I'm showing here. For this demonstration, I wanted to make some odd shapes to show what to do should your toaster pastries not line up perfectly. The jam I'm using here is a cherry jam that we made from fresh fruit, also available on our website. You can use just about any filling that has about this thickness, so any fresh fruit jam that you may have made over the summer. Chocolate's a great option. Feel free to experiment. You probably wouldn't want to go any thinner than what you're seeing here though, otherwise it might leak. The amount of jam that I'm putting here is really going to be the maximum amount of filling you want to put in your toaster pastries, otherwise you're going to risk that they leak out. In fact, one of my toaster pastries did overflow, and you just take a butter knife and scrape along the edges and tidy it up, but still it's best to avoid that if possible. In this stage, I'm making vent holes for my top pieces, which is essential. If you don't make a vent hole, the steam that's released can breach out the side and make for a pretty ugly toaster pastry. So if you do not have cute little cutters like I'm using here, just use a knife to make a rough square or a triangle, whatever shape you feel comfortable with. Again, at this point, it's probably wise to put your dough into the refrigerator if you're experiencing any kind of warmth in your kitchen. At this point, I'm matching up my best possible size shapes, and I'm going to show on the following toaster pastry what to do when a size doesn't match up top to bottom. Here my top is a little too big, so I'm going to take it to the side, trim off some of the excess with my pizza cutter, and it'll line up perfectly. It's very important to have proper size match up here, as we'll see when we start to cinch the edges. If your sides don't match up, you're not going to be able to make a good seal. So definitely take the time to match up your tops and bottoms. Using the tines of a fork, you're going to want to press down about 2/3 of the way into your dough to make a good seal. If you press too far, you're going to make channels for your filling to escape. So just take your time on this and be sure not to press too hard. At this point, I probably should have put my toaster pastries in the refrigerator because you do not want to stretch your dough at all. So if you're going to be making these for an event, definitely give yourself a little extra time if you're working in a hot kitchen. Here I'm using just a simple whipped egg white to brush over the tops. This will give you just a beautiful brown, flaky top. But if you're resistant to using an egg, you could use just a little sprinkle of water if you're going to put on any kind of decorative sprinkles or whatnot that is heat resistant. If you're not opposed to using the egg wash, though, I highly recommend it. On the right side of my board, you're going to see those scraps that I mentioned earlier that you're going to want to eat right out of the oven. Here are the pastries out of the oven, beautiful brown to them and ready for icing. Give them about 30 minutes at least to cool before you apply any kind of icing at the end. It's wonderful for holiday parties. Here I did a nice 4th of July motif and even a Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for watching our tutorial on how to form hand pies, and I hope you'll visit our website for other delicious recipes.